Please rise.
All right, I'd ask that everyone please be seated. Shop.
Ron, with the court's permission, I'm going to come around.
Absolutely.
Could you just instruct the jury?
Yeah. And if anybody has, you can't put the screen a bit. If you have any difficulty looking at it, just put your hand up. I'm not sure we can see it. You have difficulty? Can you turn this back a little bit?
Just a little bit this way?
I believe so. Is that okay? Why don't you come here just a minute? Yes.
For the record, State's Exhibit number 200 is up on the screen, and we are, we're going to move to 201 in just a second. Now, Detective, I believe you testified that when you were in the crime scene, that you located Brendan's body right behind this fallen tree. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Let me see the next photograph. Actually, who lights? Thank you. And do you see him down there in the lower right-hand corner of this photograph?
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, where does this trail extend to?
That trail goes, runs north, and then it runs out to a park area that runs parallel with Cooper River on the south side of the river.
So it kind of goes through a loop?
Yes.
And then once you had located the body, did you then turn yourself the other way and document what was in the other direction
Yes,
as well?
I did.
Okay, can you see photograph number 202, please?
That would be the other way.
Okay.
That would face it south.
Okay, now, you testified previously with regard to the condition of Brendan's clothing as well as the way it was positioned on his body. So I'm going to ask that we look at State's Exhibit number 203. Now, you've indicated that he was up close to the bank, correct?
That's correct.
And is that shown in this picture?
Yes, it is.
And you also indicated that his pajama bottoms were down a little bit and that his buttocks were exposed, correct?
That's correct.
And you testified that he was resting on with his left cheek on a rock, is that correct?
That's correct.
And are all those things documented in this photo?
Yes.
Okay, did you take one from a different angle?
Yes.
Okay, can we see State's Exhibit number 203, please? Okay, now obviously you're standing in a different position, correct?
That's correct.
And when you testified that there was a little stick in the water that you were able to use to balance yourself, are you referring to this?
That's it. That's correct.
Okay. And looking at this, it's a little bit of a better picture of the bottom of his feet, correct?
Yes.
And could you see that his socks were essentially clean?
Yes.
Also, you gave testimony about the condition of the back of the collar of his shirt. Tell me what you see with, in this picture with regard to that.
Basically, it appears as if it's stretched out and the upper part of his back is being exposed.
And you also gave testimony with regard to different levels of silt that you observed on his face, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, can we see State's Exhibit number 205, please? And, I'm sorry, 207. When we're looking at this picture, does the front part of his hair that we've been touching on his forehead, did that appear wet to you?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see that there's a dirt line on his forehead?
That's correct.
And there appears to be another one down around his mouth?
That's correct.
And based on your experience, what do you believe caused that?
The receding water line.
Can we go to the next photo, please? Okay. This is photograph for State's Exhibit number 208. What are we looking at a picture of here?
This would have been his right elbow.
And did that appear to have any injuries to it?
No.
Can we go to State's Exhibit number 209? And what are we looking at now?
This would have been his left elbow area, the back of his, I would say, tricep area.
Okay. And did you observe a scrape on his left elbow area?
Yes, right
Is it
there.
approximately right here in the center of the photograph?
That's correct.
Okay. Also, he appears to have some silk stuck in the little hairs
That's
on
correct.
the arm. And what does that indicate to you?
The water level had receded.
Can we go to 210, please? During the course of your testimony, you indicated that you observed something on his back. Do you recall that?
Yes, there was a mole.
Is that what you're referring to right here?
Right.
And did he also have a small bruise to his back?
Yes.
And it's right here, and it's
Yes.
not showing up too well on the screen, but it was faint, correct?
Yes.
All right, State's Exhibit number 212, please. You testified that you thought you saw some sort of a, I believe you called it a, how did you refer to this print? Like a footprint?
An impression, yes.
An impression? I'm going to ask you to step down if you wouldn't mind, so you can show us where you observed this impression.
It would be right in here, where the, you can see the water, and then there's the higher leaves around there in the mud.
Okay. And does the fact that there's like a little puddle here that is surrounded by leaves,
That's correct.
that's what indicates that there was a heel in there?
Some type of impression.
Okay, and just to orient yourself, what we're looking at over here, this is just the tippy top of Brenda's head, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and, I'm sorry, can we see the next one? Here's a closer up, can you show us that again? That might be a
Yes.
little better.
It's right here. This area right there.
Thank you. And at the time you observed that, you indicated that you spoke with Sergeant Quigley from the Delaware River Port Authority Police,
That's correct.
and he indicated he left that there?
Yes.
We have State's Exhibit 214, please. All right, looking at this photograph, it's another photograph printed from an opposite angle, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and as you're looking at this photograph, what can you see about his right hand?
Right hand is palms facing up and it's bent, basically towards his, say, forearm.
So it's bent backwards at the wrist?
Yes.
Okay. And can we see the next one, please? Which hand is this?
This would have been the left hand.
Okay, and was his left hand also bent backwards and facing up
Yes.
while he was in the... And his hand, was his hand submerged in this photo?
Yes, it was.
And what does it appear to have in it?
The silt.
Okay, you testified that once Detective Ellis handed Brendan's body up to you. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
And he was laid out on a white surface in the photograph, correct?
That's correct.
Can we see... Is this what the front of Brendan looked like?
That's correct.
Okay, now you testified that when he was handed up to you, you thought he was starting to have to enter rigor. Is that correct? And can you explain how you can observe that based on the position of his body?
Basically, you can see how, as he was laying down previously, his palms are still up. And if he was laying on his stomach, they would be in the up position, and his back is arched.
Okay, so it's something of an unnatural position?
Yes.
In other words, it's not limp.
Yes, exactly.
And lastly, you testified that his pants in the front were pulled up into a normal position as well as his pull-up, correct?
That's correct.
Is that shown here?
Yes.
Okay, can we have the next picture, please? And that's just a close-up of his pants, correct?
That's correct.
Did you observe on him at the time when you were photographing his belly area? I believe you testified you saw some scratches on his belly?
Yes.
And again, I'm not sure it's showing up well on the screen, but they're in this area here, right above
Yeah.
his waistline?
And then they're a little bit to the left and below the belly button, a little bit right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
over here. No, can you come down and show us? It's hard to see when you're standing on it.
They're right in this area right here.
Okay, can we see State's Exhibit number 219? Okay. And now we are looking, this again is another shot of his pants, correct?
That's correct.
And do you see how his left pants leg is kind of scrooched all the way up to his knee area?
Yes.
Is that how it was when he was in the water?
Yes.
And does this photograph document the condition of his socks?
Yes, it does.
And then lastly, we have State's Exhibit number 220, please, which is more of a shot of the bottom of his sock, correct?
That's correct.
That's it for now. Thank you. Detective, what did you do once Brendan's body had been removed from the scene?
That time I wanted to videotape the scene in that area.
And did you shoot the entire area as you photographed it, walking in, walking through?
That's correct, yes.
All right. Was a search of the scene conducted?
Yes, it was.
By whom?
Members of the Camden County Prosecutor's Office Crime Scene Investigation Unit and members of the Haddon Township Police Department.
And what areas were searched?
We started where Brendan was located, and then we worked our way out from that area. We also searched, we did a line search on that big park field that runs parallel with Cooper River. We started on the west end, and then we worked our way inward to where Brendan was located.
Okay, and what is a line search?
Basically, I stood in the back, and I had orange flags, and then there was a line of detectives in front of me. Basically, they just looked down, we call it kind of like a police call, where we just look down to the ground for anything of evidential value, whether it be items or vehicle impressions, anything of that nature.
And other than that first cigarette butt that you mentioned that was in the first big field that you saw when you arrived, did you find anything in the big field?
Yeah, Detective Hack of the Haddon Township Police Department did find another cigarette butt in that field.
And the woods surrounding this creek, were they searched by personnel from both the prosecutor's office and the Haddon Township Police Department?
That's correct.
Was there anything recovered from the woods?
No.
Did you also, did you collect anything from the K-9 officer?
Yes, I collected a red Mickey Mouse slipper along with plastic bags, small plastic bags.
Okay. I want to go back to that big field for just a moment. When you're in that big field, if you're facing the creek, if you're proceeding down to the creek, is there a tree line on both sides of that field?
Yes.
All right, and what is it, focusing your attention to the right, what is on the other side of the tree line?
On the other side of that tree line, if you're in that field, you got the trees, and then you have houses on that side.
And what's the name of that street that those houses are on?
That would be Vesper Ave.
Which house was closest to the scene where Brendan was located?
127 Vesper Ave.
And focusing now on the tree line on the left side of that large field, what's on the other side of that tree line?
That would be the other grassy field, South Park Drive, where we did that line search.
Okay, and is that where the cigarette butt was located?
Yes.
Okay, and what's on the other side of that second field?
Cooper River.
Okay. Okay, Detective, I'm going to ask you to take a look at these photographs. You know what, I'm going to go just a little bit further so we can finish up with the photographs. What time did you depart the scene? What time did you depart Cooper River Park?
It was 11:49 a.m.
Did you ever take any measurements in the park?
Yes,
When was that done?
October 20th, a couple days afterwards.
And what did you measure?
I measured right at the intersection there of South Park Drive and Saginaw Ave, right at that corner.
And where did you go to?
That same path that I told you earlier, down the trail into the grassy opening, traveling east to the ventilation pipe to the other trail that headed downwards to where Brendan was located.
And what tools did you use to make those measurements?
I used a measuring walking stick.
And is that, tell us how that works.
It's like a wheel stick. It has a handle, comes up, and then the wheels will measure the feet for you.
And what was the distance between the intersection of Saginaw and South Park Drive and where Brendan's body was located?
679 feet.
Going back to the 13th, were you called to another location with regard to this case after you left the park?
Yes.
Where were you called to?
To the Manhattan National Police Department.
Who called you there?
Detective Rhodes.
Do you know approximately what time you arrived?
It was approximately 12:39 a.m.
PM?
Or p.m., I'm sorry.
Yes. And why were you called there?
From the preliminary information I received, that apparently there was a man seen with a suitcase, rolling suitcase in the area of Cooper Street, Virginia Ave.
Okay, who stopped that trash truck?
The Manhattan National Police Department.
And where was the trash truck located?
It was located in the rear of the police department where they parked their vehicles.
All right, so what did you do when you arrived and saw the trash truck?
At that time, I started taking my photographs around the vehicle and surrounding area.
Was that before you attempted to search it?
That's correct.
Were you able to search the contents of the trash truck?
No, when I got there, the trash truck was like in a closed position, so all the trash was pretty compacted in the front. So once they opened that up, it was pretty compacted inside there to dig through to look for anything.
All right, so what did you do?
At that time, it was determined that we would have the vehicle, the truck, go to the Reed Community Camden Recycling Center in Kansas City off of Mount Ephraim Ave, and have that truck dumped in a big open area where it could be searched through.
Okay, and how did was the trash truck accompanied by a police vehicle?
Yeah, myself and Manhattan Township Police Officer, we escorted that vehicle to that location.
And what happened when you got to the Camden Recycling Plant?
At that point, the truck dumped all its contents out.
And once all the contents of the trash truck were dumped, did you tell me what you did?
Searched through all of the trash and photographed it as we went through the layers.
Okay, and did you locate a suitcase or anything that appeared to be related to this case?
No.
And what time did you finish at the recycling plant?
Approximately 3:28 p.m.
So it was a recycling trash truck that you looked through?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibits number 221 through and including 234. Looking at those photographs now, do they fairly and accurately document the evidence that you picked up both at the scene out in Cooper River Park, as well as the processing of those items later, as well as the trash truck that you searched?
Yes.
And you took all these photos?
Yes.
I would move them into evidence then.
Objection, counsel. No objection, will be admitted evidence.
Thank you. Detective, can we have lights, please? Thank you. Beginning with photograph number 221. It's faint and it's in the center, but do you see an evidence marker in there?
Yes.
Okay, what color is it?
Blue.
All right, and just so that everyone can orient themselves, do you see the ventilation pipe in the background?
Yes.
And is this the ventilation pipe?
That's it.
And this is your evidence marker?
That's correct.
Okay. So you're in the large field there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can we get the next picture? And is this a picture of the item that was next to code number 1?
That's correct.
Did you collect that item?
Yes, I did.
You indicated that there was a second cigarette butt that was collected, correct?
That's correct.
But that one, well, can we see the picture? State's Exhibit number 223. It's very difficult to see here, but one of your orange evidence flags is in this photograph, correct?
That's correct.
And when you're collecting evidence, you take a picture from very far away, medium range, and right up close. Is that right?
That's correct.
And do you recall that you put your second evidence flag over here?
That's correct.
So when you're in this part of the field, you're actually very close to Cooper River, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, can we see the next shot, which is just a closer up shot, 224? And you can see the your orange evidence flag there, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and State's Exhibit 225 collected from her?
That's correct.
And is that the condition it was in at the time you collected it, still in the bag?
Yes.
And did you remove the slipper from the bag?
Yes.
Can we see 227, please? And that's the slipper that you received from Officer Nicholson?
That's correct.
And with regard to the cigarette butts, did you photograph them because you collected them?
That's correct.
Okay, can we see 228? And did you do the same thing, did you measure it?
Yes.
Can we see 229? And did you do the same thing with the second cigarette butt?
That's correct.
So this is a photograph of it with its envelope, and then State's Exhibit 231 is with the measurement, correct?
That's correct.
Were they the same kind of cigarette butts?
Yes.
Do you know what brand they were?
Marlboro?
All right. You testified that when you left this scene, you had to go, you went and searched the trash truck, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to look at State's Exhibit 252. Does that show the condition of the rear of the trash truck and the compacted nature of its contents?
That's correct.
233. And this is a picture of the trash truck in the parking lot?
That's correct.
And then last but not least, we have State's Exhibit 234. And is that the pile of trash that was searched through?
That's correct.
Okay, Detective, I am going to ask you to direct your attention to Wednesday, October the 14th. Can I have the lights? Thank you. Did you respond to the Inspire Medical Center in Woodbury, New Jersey?
Yes.
And what is located there?
That's where the morgue is located.
And is that where autopsies are performed?
That's correct.
Why did you go there on the 14th?
There's going to be a second view of Brendan that day.
And what was your role in this procedure today?
I was just there to document.
And were you going to do that with photographs?
That's correct.
At this point, had an autopsy already been performed?
Yes.
And who did that?
Dr. Fine.
And he's the medical examiner?
That's correct.
All right, when was the initial autopsy performed?
October 13th.
Does someone from the Camden County Prosecutor's Office Crime Scene Investigation Unit usually attend an autopsy?
Yes.
Did you attend the autopsy on the 13th?
No.
Who attended the autopsy?
Detective Bill Brummel.
What is the role of a CSI detective at an autopsy?
Basically, we're there to photograph the decedent and to collect any evidence.
So in this case, Brendan's body was viewed a second time, correct?
That's correct.
Who conducted the second view?
Dr. Fine.
And do you recall what time that began?
It's approximately at 9:35 a.m.
In addition to viewing the body at that time, did Dr. Feigen perform any additional examination?
Yeah, he checked out Brendan's back.
And what was your role during this entire procedure?
Basically a document.
I'm going to ask you if you would please take a look through these state's exhibits. Beginning with 235, Judge. You go through State's Exhibits 235 through and including 245. Do you recognize those photographs?
Yes.
Where do you recognize them from?
October 14th.
Okay, are these the photographs you took during the second view?
Yes.
Judge, I'm not going to move these in yet, but I just wanted to make sure I had established a sufficient foundation. Is that satisfactory? Thank you. Okay, Detective, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to the following day, I'm going to skip ahead to Friday, October the 16th. With regard to this case that day, did you transport buccal swabs to the New Jersey State Police Lab to be compared with cigarette butts?
That's correct.
And how about, were you aware that Detective Joe Gersick had collected swabs on the bathroom floor of the defendant's apartment?
Yes.
I know you transported the buccal swabs on the 16th. Did you take Joe Gersick's swabs at a later date?
Yes, it would have been on October 27th.
Okay. And on Friday, October 16th, did you receive a package with regard to some testing that was requested in this case?
Yes.
What was in the package?
It was a plankton net and some bottles.
And who were those ordered for?
Dr. Feige.
And what was the purpose of the net and the test tubes?
Dr. Feige was going to respond after they obtained water sample.
Out in the pond where Brendan was located?
That's correct.
And on Friday, October the 16th, was there an attempt made to begin measuring the water levels in the stream?
Yes.
Can you tell us how that was going to be accomplished?
Yes. Basically, members from the crime scene unit, they put green poles, kind of like street poles, into the middle of the stream, where in the area where Brendan was located, and then in the area, the spot where Brendan was located. And attached to these green poles are going to be metal yardsticks. And at that time, we're going to obtain measurements of the water levels.
So what was the plan for obtaining those measurements?
We're going to take them every 3 hours in a 24-hour period.
And how would that be documented?
It was going to be documented by photographs.
Do you know who installed the measuring poles in the pond?
The members of the crime scene.
And when did, how was it that it was photographed every 3 hours? Was there like a rotating schedule?
Yeah, we worked out, me and Detective Gersick worked out a shift to respond out there and do that.
And were photographs taken every 3 hours?
That's correct.
Did you have the night shift?
Yes, I did.
Now, you were there during the day on October 13th for quite some time, correct?
That's correct.
And can you describe for us the difference between getting out there in the daytime and getting out there in the nighttime?
Nighttime, once you got in that first grassy opening field, it was pitch dark, so at that point, I would have to utilize my flashlight to navigate to where Brendan was located.
And are you, as the lead crime scene detective, are you familiar with what the end result was after 24 hours of measuring?
Yes.
How much did the water level move in a 24-hour period?
Approximately 4.5 inches.
And was that in the middle of the pond?
That was in the middle of the pond. The pole where Brendan's body was located, the water level never reached it.
And were you out there the following day on Saturday back at the pond?
Yes.
And what was your purpose on that day?
Basically to document Dr. Feige in obtaining the water samples with that plankton net and the vials.
Do you know what he was looking for?
I'm not quite sure.
What time did you meet Dr. Feige out there?
Approximately 4:18 p.m.
And what did he do?
He went into the water in that area where Brendan was located, and he basically took the, he had a string attached to stuff, and he was taking water samples.
And did he also take samples from the pond area?
Yes.
And what did he use to collect these samples?
The plankton and the vial.
Did you document this process with photos?
Yes.
What time did you leave the pond that day?
Approximately 4:50 p.m.
Where did you go once Dr. Feige had collected the samples?
We went right to the morgue.
For what purpose?
He was going to do an examination of the water.
And were you there while he did that?
Yes.
Did he indicate to you what the results were?
Negative. It was fine.
Judge, can I approach the witness with states exhibits 246 through including 252?
Okay.
I'm just going to take a look at those. Do you recognize this, what's shown in those photos?
Yes.
And do they document the activities that were conducted out at the pond?
Yes.
And looking at them now, do they fairly and accurately show what you saw with your own eyes?
Yes.
Judge, I would move exhibits 246 through 252 into evidence.
No objection needed.
Good, lights, please. Okay, with regard to the two poles that were installed out there at the creek, can you see where they are in this photograph?
Yes.
There's one out in the middle, correct?
Yes.
And there's one closer here. Is this the location where Brendan was found, where this pole is?
Yes.
Okay, the water looks kind of low here, is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, and when you indicated that there was some movement in the tide, did that occur at this pole out here in the
Yes.
center?
Yep.
Was it, I believe you said there was never even any water in here at this
Yes.
time? Okay, can you see that next photograph, please? This would be State's Exhibit 247. And is this just a photograph of the low point
Yes.
of the tide there? Well, it's not a tide, I keep calling it, the low point of the water.
Yes.
Can you see the next one? And does that photograph reflect the highest point of the water? I think it's can you see it from there?
No, I cannot.
Here, let me bring in the paper one. What's the water level in the picture that's up on the screen?
It's about 7.5.
And it started at 4.5, correct?
That's correct.
Can we see the next picture, please? Okay, this again obviously was taken at the same time and is at the location where Brendan was located, correct?
That's correct.
And can we see the next one? Now, is this the highest point of the top of the water?
That's it.
Okay, and the location where Brendan was found again remained dry at that time?
Yes.
And can you see the next picture, please? What have you documented here?
This is Dr. Feigen using the plankton net to obtain the water samples.
Okay, and next picture, please. Is that what the tube that the water samples were obtained in?
Yes.
With the lights, please. Okay, Detective, I'm going to ask you to there's a couple of items of evidence I would like you to identify.
Sure.
That's just a sliver. Can I borrow your scissors? Do you have scissors? I'm going to ask you to take a look at what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit number 181.
Okay, this is 1-3, which is one red Mickey Mouse slipper.
And can you open that one for us?
Yes.
Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
Where have you seen it before?
This is the slipper that
Officer Nicholson gave me.
Okay, and looking at it now, is it in the same or substantially similar condition as it was at the time you collected it?
Yes, it is.
Judge, I move that into evidence?
No objection to the amendment.
And can you take a look at Stacy's exhibit number 182?
This is item 1-4, 3 black plastic bags used to store the red Mickey Mouse slipper.
You don't have to open them up, just pull them out and take a look at them. Do you recognize those?
Yes,
What are they?
these were the plastic bags that were provided by Detective Nicholson.
Okay, thank you. Looking at them, do they appear to be in the same or substantially similar condition as they were at the time when Officer Nicholson gave them to you?
Yes.
Shall we move that into evidence?
No objection to the amendment.
Detective, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to Monday, October the 26th. Did you report to the apartment building located at Cooper Street and Virginia Avenue that morning?
Yes, I did.
Who did you meet there?
I met Lieutenant Twain, Sergeant Norcross, and Assistant Prosecutor along with a 3-year-old child.
And what were you going to do?
Basically, photographed this child walking from that area to where Brendan was located, basically inside.
Why was this being done?
A detective had previously done this after Brendan was located, and just wearing socks, and he walked from that location down to where Brendan was located, and we wanted to see, compare a child that's similar to Brendan's size to see if the socks would get dirty.
So what time did you meet up with the others?
It was about 7 a.m.
And what did you do once they arrived?
Once they arrived, we weighed the 3-year-old child.
And had a pair of socks identical to those worn by Brendan been obtained for this morning?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, did you say you weighed the child?
Yes.
Do you recall how much the child weighed?
34.8 pounds.
And what was done with the identical socks?
They were placed on the child.
Were they placed directly on her feet or over top of shoes?
They were placed over top of the child's shoes.
And why was that done?
Basically, we wanted to protect the child's feet. It was cold outside, and it was a long walk.
Did the child walk all the way to the creek?
Yes.
And who went along for the walk?
Lieutenant Twain, Sergeant Norcross, and the Assistant Prosecutor.
All right, which route was taken?
We started at right there at Cooper Street and Virginia Ave, and we walked north on Cooper Street until we got to South Park Drive. At South Park Drive, we crossed over South Park Drive, and we made a right onto the paved sidewalk that runs parallel with South Park Drive to the intersection of South Park Drive and Saginaw Ave. From there, we went that route I described earlier, to the woods and the trail, to the grassy opening with the ventilation pipe, to the other trail that headed downhill, and then at the intersection of the other trail that runs parallel with the stream, we made a left there to where Brendan was located.
And what was the condition of the socks the child was wearing when she arrived down at the creek?
They were dirty and wet.
And was there any damage to the fabric itself?
Yeah, they were frayed on the bottom from what I'm assuming from shuffling when the child was walking.
And did you document the walk and the condition of the socks both before and after the walk?
That's correct.
were the weather conditions at the time of the walk?
It was 48 and clear.
And can you, you walked through the field with the child, obviously, correct?
Yes.
And what was the condition of the grass in the field?
It was wet from what I'm assuming is the morning dew.
What happened to the socks the child was wearing after the walk had been completed?
They were photographed and secured.
Once they were secured, were they secured back to the prosecutor's office?
Yes.
And did you document the condition of the socks once you got back to the prosecutor's office?
Yes, I photographed.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibits number 253 through including 269. Do you recognize what's shown in those photographs?
Yes.
Are those the photographs that document both the walk as well as the socks afterwards that you just testified to?
Yes.
And did they fairly and accurately show what you saw with your own eyes that morning?
Yes.
Judge, with that I would move into evidence State's Exhibits 253 through and including 269.
Objection, counsel? No. No objection to the evidence.
Could we the lights, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Detective, looking at State's Exhibit 253, what are we looking at here?
This would be the child on the scale.
Okay, and it's registering 34.8 pounds?
That's correct.
Can you see the next picture, please? And what are you documenting with this photograph?
This would be the socks on the child.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 255. This is the bottom of the sock, correct?
Yes.
For which foot?
That would have been the right.
And did you take a similar picture of the left foot?
Yes.
Can you see State's 256? Is that it? Okay. And then moving on to 257. What are you documenting here?
Basically, the child walking.
And was this during the walk down Cooper Street?
Yes, on the sidewalk.
And can we look at 258? Same thing, walking down Cooper Street?
That's correct.
Okay. And number 259. Now here it appears that the sidewalk has ended. Do you know where you were at this point?
I believe it's still on Cooper Street.
And then State's Exhibit number 260. Do you notice the change on the sidewalk?
Yes, this is that paved trail that I was explaining earlier that runs parallel with South Park Drive.
Okay. So at this point, everybody's in Cooper River Park, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, State's Exhibit number 261. And based on what you observe here on the grounds, where are you?
At this point, this would be either in the trail that enters into before you hit the grassy opening.
And then, next picture, please. Where was this photograph taken?
This was down by the where Brenton was located.
Down at the bottom of the creek?
Yes.
And can we see 263, please? I'm sorry, I should say that 262 was the right foot, correct?
That's right.
And now we're looking at the bottom of the left foot?
That's right.
And 264, please? All right, now you testified that you took those socks and you took them back and photographed them indoors, correct?
That's correct.
And are they, what is this brown packaging?
That's right. Place them in.
Can we see 265? This is the photograph at the top of the socks after the walk?
Yes.
Can we see 266? And that's a photograph of the bottom of the socks after the walk, correct?
That's correct.
And these are the socks that were worn by a child that weighed 34.8 pounds?
That's correct.
Can I see 267, please? You testified, I believe, that the bottom of the socks became frayed during the walk. Is that reflected in this photograph?
Yes.
Scene 268. And this just documents the fraying of the other sock as well, correct?
Yes.
All right, last but not least, 269. And is this what the socks that the child wore look like at the conclusion of the walk?
Yes.
Move the lights, please. Judge, can I ask counsel to approach?
Yes.
Actually, Detective, the first thing I'm going to ask you to look at is State's Exhibit number 180. I think you only need a pair of scissors. What's in there?
This would be one four-board sock package from the comparison sock on 12/26 of 2015, item dash 15.
Is it 1226 or 1026?
Or, I'm sorry, 10/26 of 2015.
Okay. And can you tell me, go ahead and open that up. And what is that from?
This is from the socks, the starter socks.
Okay. They were purchased for the purpose of this child making this walk?
Yes.
There's a sock tag in that. I'm sorry, it's fairly in. Does it look like it did at the time you
Yes.
purchase was made?
No objection to the minutes.
Yeah, keep them so close. They're in my trial bag. All right, Detective. While we're getting that, after the child made the walk and the socks were documented, to your knowledge, was anything else done with one of the socks after that time?
Yes, on a later date, it was used to be placed back in the water where Brendan was located on that pole.
And how long was it left there for?
Approximately 12 hours.
All right. And can you tell me, based on these packages, which sock was put in, I'm sorry, what should I do? State's Exhibit number 183 and State's Exhibit number 184. Based on the packages, can you tell us which sock was placed in the water and which sock was not?
It's 12-1 to be placed in the water,
Okay.
which is one comparison sock number 1 on 12 or 10/26 2015.
We're not going to open that one again. And can you take a look at State's Exhibit number, is that 184?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to open that package. Based on the labeling that we have, what's contained within that bag?
This is item 12-2, one comparison sock number 2 on 10/26 2015.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you to give the bag just a little bit of a shake. Does it sound like there's dirt in there?
Yes, sir.
All right, we have two options. We have brown craft paper we could lay out, or do you think you could do it just in this folder?
Yes, I can do it right here.
And is that one of the socks that the 3-year-old child wore when she made the test walk?
Yes.
And looking at it now, when it's photographed, the photograph is still up on the television. At the time you photographed him on there, was the sock still wet?
Yes.
Okay, and obviously the sock has since dried, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And just for the record, could you describe what's falling out of the sock on the folder?
There's dirt, a little bit of leaves, and some dirt, just dirt.
Okay. And can you put the sock back in there? Other than the fact that the sock is now dry, is it in the same or substantially similar condition as it was at the time that you collected it from the child?
Yes.
Judge, are you that in evidence?
No objection. Was that 3 or 4?
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. 184.
184.
I have more bags.
Yeah, forget, put this in the bag of the dirt.
Okay. Just for the record, Judge, we're going to put that in a fresh bag, and Detective Valano is going to. I can put another sticker on that at some point, Judge. The same sticker, but I mean, same number. All right, Detective, I started to ask you some questions about soaking the sock in the water for 12 hours. Do you recall those?
Yes.
And do you recall when that was done?
That was done on October 28, 2015.
Okay, and as with attempting to measure tides, once the sock was attached to a tide pole, which tide pole was it attached to, by the way?
It was the tide pole where Brendan's body was located.
The one that was closer into shore?
Yes.
Okay. Once again, did the detectives in the crime scene unit take turns to rotate photographing that sock in the water?
Yes.
How often was that done?
Every hour.
And did you participate in that?
Yes.
Do you recall what time you took photos of that? What your shift was?
Yep, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., and 1 p.m.
Okay, and who did you relieve?
Sergeant Norcross and Agent Shelley.
So they had the shifts before you?
Yes.
And what was the weather like when you were out there that day?
It was 59 and raining.
Judge, that's all the questions I have for this detective.
My understanding, counsel, in reference to cross-examination, that's going to be deferred. There's another witness here calling at this time.
If that's agreed, I don't know how long counsel's cross is.
That's fine, Your Honor. I think that's appropriate. I have no problem with that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, because of scheduling issues, we're going to defer the cross-examination of this witness because, as I indicated to you yesterday, we're going to be taking a trip today so that we can schedule a trip accordingly. There's going to be another witness called before our lunch and recess so that we can receive testimony from that witness. Thank you. Let me ask you to step down.
Yes.
We'll see you again later. Thank you. Your next witness.
Judge, the state is going to call Sergeant John Quigley.
Also, I'm going to ask you to come up and stand directly in front of the clerk here to my left.
State your name for the record, please.
Sergeant John Quigley.
You swear that the current testimony that you have in this matter is
So just have a seat here.
Good morning, Sergeant. Good morning. Good afternoon. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where you work, please?
Delaware Report Card.
And how long have you been with the Delaware River Authority?
Since 2003, so almost 14 years.
And you're a police officer, correct?
Yes.
And what is your current rank?
Sergeant.
Can you describe your duties as a sergeant with the Delaware River Port Authority Police Department?
Currently, I oversee a platoon of approximately 9 officers patrolling the Creato high-speed line.
What is the jurisdiction of the Delaware River Port Authority Police Department?
It's a bi-state agency. We have police powers in both New Jersey and Pennsylvania throughout 13 counties. It's 5 counties in Pennsylvania and 8 in New Jersey.
Okay. And does that include all 4 Port Authority bridges?
Yes,
And does it also include the Creato high-speed line?
it does.
And you have jurisdiction from where to where along the high-speed line?
The high-speed line runs from Lindenwold out to 16th and Locust, Illinois.
All right. And which part of that jurisdiction are you generally responsible for?
As a sergeant, the entire time.
I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to Tuesday, October the 13th of 2015. Were you working that morning?
I was.
What shift were you working?
The day work shift begins at 6 a.m. and ended at 6 p.m.
Did you respond to any calls in Haddon Township that morning?
I did.
What was the nature of the call?
There was a missing child.
And was someone requesting assistance?
Yes, we had a request from Haddon County.
So where did you respond when you heard that call?
We went to the intersection of Cooper and Virginia.
And what was located on the corner there?
There's an apartment building.
Do you recall what your dispatch time was?
One of my officers requested to go there roughly around 6:30. I got there around 7.
And once you arrived at the intersection of Cooper and Virginia, did you check in anywhere?
I met Detective Quinn.
Was there a command post that had been set up at that intersection?
I don't recall if the command post had set up yet.
They hadn't arrived yet when you did? Okay. So you spoke with Don Quinn, correct?
Yes.
And which agency is he with? What's he with?
I
Okay.
believe it was.
Was he a detective?
Yes.
All right. So what did you do after you checked in with Detective Quinn?
He had requested that I search the area going out to Cooper Street. And at that point, I don't believe they had any established search patterns yet, so I went out alone.
Okay. And where did you go?
I walked straight out Cooper towards the park, South Park Drive,
Okay.
and
When you hit South Park Drive, which direction did you go?
I turned left to go down.
So at that point, were you walking towards Cuthbert Road?
Yes,
Approximately how far did you walk through the park towards Cuthbert Road?
approximately 100 yards or so.
At some point, did you leave the park and enter back into the neighborhood?
Yes,
And at some point after that, when you were out searching by yourself, did you make your way back through the neighborhood and to the command post?
I did.
Was the command post set up by the time you
By
got
then,
back?
yes.
Okay. And Sergeant, I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 270 and ask if you recognize this. Do you know what that's a map of?
Yes,
And this is a map of both first and second search route that you took, correct?
yes,
And does this map fairly and accurately document the route that you took?
yes,
And it's a lot of different street names, correct?
yes.
Are you familiar with this area?
No,
Okay. And we created this map during trial prep, so to explain to the jurors where you went, correct?
yes.
Judge, with that, I would move State's Exhibit number 270 into evidence.
I know Junior just like to see it.
Oh, sure, sorry. My apologies. Yellow is the first one, please. Can you pull that up for me? Okay, can you see that, Sergeant?
Yes,
Okay, so that yellow is a little bit faint. So you can see, obviously, there are 2 routes laid out on this map. Which of the colors represents the first search that you conducted?
Field.
So you testified that you walked all the way down to Cooper Street to the park, correct?
Yes.
And what's at this location in the park?
There's a lower field.
Okay. And did you follow that field?
I turned left and followed that field down.
Okay. And you took the field up to Strawbridge Avenue, correct?
Yes.
And then did you cut back through the neighborhood to Hampton Avenue?
Yes.
And then eventually you made your way back to 103 Cooper Street, correct?
I did.
And I think you said at that time the command center had been set up?
Yes.
Did you check in with the command center when you returned from that first search?
Yes.
Actually, I'm sorry. Before you got there, did you notice anything on this first search with regard to the neighborhood?
In the beginning, the neighborhood was quiet, no one out.
Okay.
As I got further along, especially towards the end, the neighborhood was waking because people were getting their kids to school, people were going to work, walking the dog. There was more and more people on the street. Including, we had a lot of residents that were actually out assisting with search.
So what did you do when you made your way back to the command post after that first search? Speak with anybody?
I spoke with Officer Nicholson and Detective Wood.
Okay. Who was Officer Nicholson?
She was our officer assigned to the emergency.
So she's with the Delaware River Port Authority, correct?
Yes.
Did Detective Quinn ask you and Officer Nicholson to do anything in particular?
He asked us to go back and search the park area.
And did you conduct or did Officer Nicholson conduct this search with her canine?
Yes.
And what is her canine's name?
Calvin.
Where did this search begin, the second search?
At the back door of the apartment complex.
Do you recall if the door had a number on it?
I believe it was 1-3.
Who's lights, please? Okay, so during the second search, what was your role in the search?
Officer Nicholson and her canine primary I was following.
And which direction did you travel with Officer Nicholson and Cowan?
We went straight out Cooper towards the park.
The same route that you had gone earlier that morning to get to the park?
Yes.
Okay, what happened as Officer Nicholson and Cowan approached Cooper River Park? Did you notice any changes?
Calvin seemed to be pulling her more aggressively.
And in which direction, once you hit the park, which direction did you travel on the second search?
We went more off to the right.
And as you traveled along, do you know the name of the road that you were on?
I believe that was South Park.
South Park Drive? When you were traveling on South Park Drive, were you traveling on a pedestrian path? Or in the street, on the residential side? Where were you actually, if you remember?
I believe we went straight across and up to where the sidewalk and the grass areas.
Okay. It was on the park side though, not the residential side?
Park side.
Okay. How far did you travel on that paved part of the sidewalk there in Cooper River Park?
Not far. There was an entrance going down into another field.
Okay,
Right
and
in the corner.
right, I was just going to say, at that location, it's kind of corner, correct? What happened when Officer Nicholson and Cowan hit that corner? Did they stay on the path?
No, well, we went, it's more or less of a path leading off to a field.
It's not paved though, correct?
No.
Okay, so you left the paved path?
Yes.
In which direction were you traveling at this time?
I think it was south, I'm not sure. It'll all fit to the-
That's okay if you're not sure. But you went into a lightly wooded area, correct? Did you continue to follow Officer Nicholson and Cowan?
I did.
All right. And what happened after you went through the slightly wooded area? Where did you find yourself?
There was a small open field, and it continued to go towards the opening to a trail.
Okay. And did you continue to follow? Did you notice any changes in Cowan's behavior as you progressed through that field?
He seemed to be getting more and more excited.
Okay, where did Officer Nicholson and Cowan go once they got through that field?
They went down a small trail leading towards the creek.
And you were still with them at this point?
I was.
How far behind them were you?
I was right behind them.
Right behind?
Correct, right behind.
And you were right behind Officer Nicholson, correct?
Yes.
All right, so where did that trail lead?
It led down to a well-worn dirt path along a creek line.
There was a creek at the bottom?
Yes.
What happened when you and Officer Nicholson and Cowan, when you guys got to the bottom of that trail, what was in front of you?
The creek.
And where did Cowan go?
He seemed to go off to the right a little bit.
And did Officer Nicholson stay with him?
Yes.
What did you do?
At this point, I turned left and I told her I would search off to the left side.
Did you notice anything after you went to the left?
Approximately 20 feet after turning left, I saw Brendan's body chest down in the water.
What did you do when you saw him there?
Initially, I called for Officer Nixon to come back.
How far away was she from you at this point?
Not far, she was still in action.
Okay, you testified that you saw Brendan's body in the creek. What made you think it was the child that you were searching for?
The clothing description and age matched.
How close to the bank of the creek was he?
Right along the edge.
What did you believe his condition to be when you saw him?
My first instinct was that he was already there.
And what made you think that?
Primarily just, like I said, how long we've been looking. The more and more people that were out in the neighborhood, the less likely it seemed like this was going to result in positive findings.
Did you advise Officer Nicholson of what you had seen?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I called her back, told her that I had found.
What did you then ask her to do?
I asked her to go up to street level to guide incoming officers where we were.
Did you check the child for any signs of life?
I did.
Was Officer Nicholson there when you did that?
No, I don't think she was.
So tell us what you did when you checked Brendan.
I stepped down and I checked the pulse both at the carotid artery of his neck and also, since he's a juvenile, checked at the brachial pulse on the trunk.
Did you do anything before you stepped down?
I looked to make sure it was clear where I was going to step at first. It was muddy embankment.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It was a muddy embankment, so I looked first to see where I was going to step.
And were you looking for anything else?
If there was anything else out of place.
And before you stepped down there, did you notice any other footprints or shoe prints or anything that seemed to be out of place?
There was nothing.
What were you wearing on your feet at the time?
Boots.
After looking in that area, were you able to spot a place that looked like it would be pretty safe for you to step down into?
Yes.
And were you able to find a pulse at either location on the rim? As you were checking Brendan, did you see anybody else in the woods?
I did. Excuse me. There was somebody that approached from the other side of the water.
Okay, and when you say the other side of the water, are you referring to the other side of the river or the other side of the pond or the creek?
Like on the other side of the creek.
Okay. And was it a civilian person?
I believe so.
Do you know who he was?
No, I know.
Did you say anything to him?
I told him to stay back.
And what did you think he was doing in the woods? What did he appear to be doing?
I got the impression.
I'm sorry?
I think it was rephrased, so I'll allow the question.
What did he appear to be doing?
I got the impression he was just assisting in the search.
And did he leave the woods when you asked him to?
He did. He did.
Well, we're almost done here, but before I move on, I just want to direct your attention back to the map. The blue line that is on the map that appears to track down Cooper Street and going to South Park Drive, does that represent the track of the second search that you did with Officer Nicholson and Callan?
It does.
Once you finished checking Brendan, did you make any notifications that you had located him?
I did.
Who did you notify?
I called my corporal and asked him to call my cell phone.
Okay. And why did you want to make that notification over a cell phone as compared to the radio?
So I didn't want anyone else to hear.
Did you remain at the scene?
I did.
And did you hold the scene until detectives arrived?
I did.
And did anyone arrive with crime scene tape in order to secure the area?
My corporal, I believe, started setting up crime scene tape at the top of the trail.
Okay. And where did you send Officer Nicholson?
All the way up to the street level so that the incoming detectives could find us.
Once the Camden County Prosecutor's Office crime scene detectives arrived, were you still on the scene?
That was,
And did you hear them discussing a potential boot print next to Brendan's body?
yes.
And what did you advise them of at that time?
I told him that was not correct.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 212, which is already in evidence, and the jurors have already seen it. Just to orient yourself. Do you see Brendan's head in that photograph?
I did.
And do you also see a boot print in that photograph?
That was,
And the boot print, and you can see it, the detective indicated was where that puddle was in the middle,
Yes.
is that right?
yes.
How does that boot print relate to the location where you put your feet when you went down to check on Brendan?
That's where I said.
Sergeant Quigley, when was the last time that you were out at that scene?
Today.
And why were you out there? Were you there this morning?
Yes.
Why were you out there this morning?
We placed cones out there.
And were you asked to place those cones at certain locations? Where did you, tell me where you placed cones?
Placed a cone at the beginning point of the search, at the apartment.
Okay.
The second one at the bottom of the trail by the creek where we split directions.
Okay.
And the third right where we found the body.
Do those cones have numbers on them?
Yes.
And where's the cone with the number 1 place?
The first one, number 1, is at the apartment.
And where's the cone with the number 2 currently located?
2 is at the point of the trail. Trail 4 line will be split.
And that's the point where Callan started to go to the right?
Yes.
Is that correct? And the last cone has number 3 on it?
Yes.
And you placed that cone where you observed Brendan's body in the water that morning?
Yes.
Did you not have anything else for the sergeant at this time? I do, but...
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, members of the jury, what we're going to do is we've reached our lunch recess. We're going to break for lunch. When we return after lunch, we are going to do the site visit. I anticipate we will be going for approximately 1 hour. We'll be picking up in the courtroom at approximately 2:30 for those in the audience for further testimony. There won't be any testimony at the site. It's simply a scene visit. We will be going there to make observations of the locations that we're testifying to. With that, I'll ask everybody to have a nice lunch. I ask everybody to report back promptly at 1:30. Remember, I have an issue or a or any other break. Don't discuss any aspect of the case that I'm doing. Everybody
Please rise.
And as I indicated for the record, we can have a seat. Pursuant to the statute, there will not be testimony taken at the time. There will simply be a site visit. The scene with the cones will remain after the jurors return, so if anyone wants to, the media wants to take pictures of the scene and the cones, they will be left there for that purpose. We anticipate we should be back in court at approximately 2:30, which time testimony will pick up. With that, wish everybody a happy lunch.
Judge, I had a question about that, if I may. Before we depart, is the jury going to be instructed that Sergeant Quigley will be waiting? Okay. And the only other thing I wanted to place on the record, Judge, and actually it goes back to yesterday, it was something Mr. Ficino and I discussed, referring to the defendant's consensual recording. We made redactions to that to take out some items that both parties agreed were inadmissible. I had a charge prepared for the jury, for the court to give to the jury with regard to the editing of audio tapes, but at the conclusion of it, we agreed that it was choppy and you couldn't tell that anything had been taken out anyway, and that's why we're not requesting that charge.
Well, I think it'll be part of, again, the statement charge at the end talks about possible redaction, so
Okay.
it'll be a standard charge, although if appropriate, I could have given.
Yeah, we had it ready to go, Judge, but we agreed we didn't need it.
Choppy enough as well. With that, everybody have a good lunch. We'll see everybody, well, this is party 2:30, I'll see everybody else at 2:30.
Thank you, guys.